The studio lights were blinding, the air conditioning was humming at a low roar, but the silence in that room, it was heavy enough to crush a person. Selena, I don't think I've ever seen a group of people look more uncomfortable in my entire life.
It was visceral, Spencer Whitelow. You could literally see the sweat on their brows under those high-definition cameras. This wasn't just a reunion. It felt like a collective reckoning, where every lie told over the last few months was finally coming home to roost.
Exactly. And it started right out of the gate with Emma. I mean, talk about a fall from grace. She walked onto that set with so much main character energy, like she was the hero of her own romantic comedy, but that script flipped fast.
Oh, it flipped into a psychological thriller, honestly. Emma has been trying to control the narrative all season. But when your own sister is the one to pull the curtain back and expose the cheating, there's no coming back from that.
Wait, let's pause there because that moment with the sister was brutal. It wasn't just a rumor from a fan or a leaked DM. It was blood. Her own blood outed her. How do you even sit there and try to defend yourself after that, Selena?
You don't, Spencer Whitelow. But Emma tried. She sat there with this frozen smile while the rest of the cast just stared at her. You could see the judgment in their eyes. It wasn't just about the cheating. It was about the audacity of the cover-up.
And then we have the whole Rob situation. I mean, the hooking up with Rob reveal was the cherry on top of a very messy Sunday. Elise looked like she wanted to teleport out of that studio and never look back.
Elise was done. She was absolutely 100% finished with the games. The tension between those two was like a live wire. Elise basically called her out for being fake and messy. And honestly, who could blame her?
It was that classic, you smiled in my face while stabbing me in the back energy. It's one thing to have drama in your own relationship, but to weave this web of lies involving other cast members, that's a different level of chaos.
It really is. Emma went from being the one everyone was rooting for, or at least interested in, to being the clear villain of the tell-all. The energy was so hostile, you could practically hear the bridges burning in real time.
But as chaotic as that was, it almost felt normal compared to the absolute fever dream that is Lisa and Daniel. Selena, I need you to help me make sense of this traditional marriage bombshell. How does a person get married and not know it?
I've been trying to wrap my head around it too, Spencer Whitelow. Daniel is out here claiming they are traditionally married, and Lisa is looking at him like he's speaking a language from another planet. It's either a massive cultural misunderstanding or a very elaborate spiritual scam.
A spiritual scam. That's exactly what it feels like. And then you throw in the talk of curses and that terrifying hospital scare. It felt less like a reality show and more like a Netflix true crime documentary waiting to happen.
Right? The whole curse narrative is so heavy. It adds this layer of fear and manipulation that goes beyond your typical relationship drama. Lisa seems genuinely stuck in this web, and Daniel is just pulling the strings.
It's unsettling, honestly. You want to believe there's love there, but when you hear about secret weddings and mystical threats, it's hard not to worry for her. It's like she's lost in a fog and he's the one controlling the visibility.
And the fact that she didn't even know the ceremony counted as a marriage? That is the ultimate red flag. It's a total lack of informed consent. I mean, how do you build a life on a foundation that one person didn't even know was being poured?
Exactly. It's a mess. But speaking of foundations being shaken, we have to talk about Trisha. Selena, when she dropped that pregnancy bombshell, I think my heart actually stopped for a second. And then she said the words, "Rick is not the father."
The room went dead silent. Spencer Whitelow, you could have heard a tear hit the floor. It was a Maury Povich moment in the middle of a 90-day tell-all. The look on Rick's face, it was pure, unadulterated shock.
It was heartbreaking and horrifying all at once. Rick is sitting there probably thinking about their future, and she drops a nuke on the entire relationship. Why even come to the tell-all at that point? Why put that on national television?
That's the million-dollar question. Is it for the fame, the drama, or is it just a complete lack of awareness? Whatever the reason, it was one of the most explosive revelations in the history of this franchise. It was just, wow.
It felt like the air was sucked out of the room. And it's so jarring when you contrast that with the only truly emotional, real moment of the night. I'm talking about Jovan and Annalyn. Their update was just, it was a lot to take in.
It was devastating. Hearing them talk about the miscarriage, it brought a level of reality to the show that we rarely see. Amidst all the cheating and the curses and the lies, here was a couple dealing with a very real, very human tragedy.
It really grounded the episode. And, seeing Jovan actually follow through and move to the Philippines to be with her permanently, that spoke volumes. In a room full of people making empty promises, he actually showed up.
He did. It was the only moment that felt like it had any integrity. It shows that despite the chaos of the show, there are real people with real feelings involved. Their grief was palpable, but so was their commitment to each other.
It's the one silver lining in a very dark cloud, because when you look at the rest of the couples, the energy was just shaky, like Elise and Josh. They say they're back together, but did you buy it, Selena? Because I certainly didn't.
Not for a second, Spencer Whitelow. Their body language was screaming, "We're doing this for the cameras." There was no warmth, no connection. It felt like they were just going through the motions to avoid more questions.
And they weren't the only ones. The cast versus cast energy was absolutely explosive. It wasn't just the couples fighting. It was everyone jumping down each other's throats. Accusations were flying like confetti.
It was like a shark tank. Once one person smelled blood, everyone attacked. The cheating receipts, the side comments, the eye rolls. It was a masterclass in deflection and projection. Nobody wanted to be the one in the hot seat.
I saw some comments on Reddit saying this finale was just a series of explosive accusations and confrontations everywhere, and honestly, they hit the nail on the head. There was no closure, only more fire.
Closure is a myth on this show, Spencer Whitelow. Part 2 was less about resolving issues and more about exposing just how deep the lies went. It was about dragging each other down to see who could stay afloat the longest.
That's a great way to put it. It's like a race to the bottom. You have Emma losing her good girl image, Trisha blowing up her life, and Lisa seemingly trapped in a spiritual maze. Who actually won this season?
Honestly, nobody. Maybe the viewers? Because the drama was top tier. But as far as the cast goes, they all walked away looking a bit battered. Even the ones who are still together seem to be hanging by a thread.
It's that nobody left looking stable vibe. It makes you wonder what happens when the cameras finally stop rolling, when the makeup comes off and they're back in their real lives. What's left? Just the wreckage of these relationships.
Exactly. And that's the tragedy of it, isn't it? They come on this show looking for love, or fame, or whatever, and they end up with their most shameful moments broadcast to millions. It's a high price to pay for a blue checkmark on Instagram.
It really is. I keep thinking about that tweet I saw. Everybody was cheating, lying, or confused. That pretty much sums up the entire cast of season 8. It's a miracle anyone survived the tell-all at all.
And yet, we can't stop watching. There's something about the train wreck that draws us in. We want to see the truth come out, even if it's ugly. Especially if it's ugly. If we're being honest with ourselves.
It's true. We're all just waiting for the next bombshell. Like, I'm already thinking about part 3. If Trisha's pregnancy was part 2, what on earth could they possibly have left to reveal in the finale?
I shudder to think, Spencer Whitelow. But you know TLC, they always have one more trick up their sleeve. Maybe another secret marriage? Or a long-lost twin? At this point, nothing would surprise me.
Let's go back to Emma for a second. Do you think she can ever redeem herself? Or is the villain tag going to stick to her forever? She seemed so genuinely shocked that people weren't buying her story.
I think the damage is done. When you're exposed for cheating, and then you try to gaslight the person you hurt on national TV, people don't forget that. She's going to be the cautionary tale for future seasons.
The cautionary tale of don't let your sister know your secrets. Yeah, seriously, that was the most shocking part for me. Family usually protects you, but she must have really done something to make her sister turn on her like that.
Or maybe her sister just couldn't sit by and watch the lies anymore. Sometimes the truth is just too big to keep hidden. It had to come out, and unfortunately for Emma, it happened in the most public way possible.
And then there's the Elise factor. She didn't hold back. She was the voice of the audience in a lot of ways, just calling out the nonsense as she saw it. It was refreshing to see someone refuse to play the game.
She was the reality check that the room desperately needed. While everyone else was spinning stories, she was just pointing at the fire. It made for some of the most uncomfortable, but necessary, television of the night.
It's those moments of raw honesty that keep us coming back, even if they're surrounded by chaos. Like Jovan and Annalyn, their pain was so real it almost felt wrong to watch. It made the rest of the drama feel so petty by comparison.
It really did it. It put everything into perspective. You have people fighting over DMs and traditional marriages, while this couple is mourning a child. It was a stark reminder of what actually matters.
It's a strange mix, this show. One minute you're laughing at the absurdity of a curse, and the next you're tearing up over a miscarriage. It's an emotional roller coaster that never seems to end.
And that's why we're still here, Spencer Whitelow. For better or worse, these stories get under your skin. You want to see how they end, even if you know the ending isn't going to be a happily ever after.
Well, Selena, I think we've reached the end of our rope for today. This tell-all has been a lot to process, and I think I need a long walk and a break from reality TV for at least 5 minutes.
I'm right there with you. But let's be honest, we'll both be front and center for part 3. We have to know what happens with Trisha and Rick. It's the cliffhanger of the century.
You're not wrong. I'll see you back here for the next round of tea. Until then, stay safe out there. And remember, if your partner mentions a traditional marriage you didn't know about, run.
Solid advice, Spencer Whitelow. Solid advice. See you next time.
As we close the book on this chapter of the tell-all, you can't help but feel the weight of the stories left untold. In the quiet after the storm, the echoes of the accusations still linger in the studio, and the lives of these people are changed forever.
It's a reminder that beneath the spectacle, there are real hearts breaking and real consequences unfolding. The cameras eventually turn off, the set is struck, but for Emma, Rick, Lisa, and the others, the reality of their choices is just beginning to set in.
It's a narrative of ambition, betrayal, and the desperate search for connection in a world that often values the performance over the person. We watch, we judge, and we wait for the next act, but the true story is what happens when the audience goes home.
And that is where the real drama lies. In the silence of the aftermath. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the chaos. It's been a wild ride, and the journey is far from over.
Wait, Selena, I just thought of one more thing. Do you think Daniel actually believes his own story about the marriage, or is he just that good of an actor?
That's the scariest part, Spencer Whitelow. I think he might actually believe it. And when someone believes their own lie, it becomes their reality. That's a level of complication that even a tell-all can't fully unravel.
A chilling thought to end on, but perhaps the most fitting one for this season. The truth isn't just out there, it's buried under layers of belief and desperation.
Exactly. Until next time, keep looking for the truth, even when it's hidden in plain sight.
Take care, everyone. We'll be back soon to see if anyone actually finds their way out of this mess.